Imagine this. 2 people, 2 flights, 2 countries. One lands in Sydney, the other in Doha. Both clutch a shiny card called permanent residency. Both believe it means security, belonging, a place to finally call home. And yet, one card is a key. The other, a reminder that you are at best a privileged guest. This is the story of how the same phrase, permanent residency, can mean freedom in one land and fragility in another. Let us begin with Australia. Here, permanent residency is not merely an immigration status. It is a declaration. It says, "We accept you. We expect you to stay. And one day you may even join the national family. You get health care, social security, the ability to live, work, buy property, and eventually, citizenship." Now, let us turn our eyes to Qatar. In 2018, the country introduced permanent residency. Grand headlines. But there is a catch. It is offered to a maximum of 100 people per year. Imagine winning a golden lottery ticket. And what does it grant? Access to state services, the right to buy property in designated areas, and, most significantly, the ability to sponsor your family without tethering yourself to a local employer. It sounds generous. It is generous. But it is also rare, exclusive, and fundamentally conditional. In Australia, PR means you are planting roots. In Qatar, PR means you have been allowed to plant a flower pot. Beautiful, but portable. One survives drought, the other can be lifted, moved, or quietly discarded. Listen to Aisha, a Pakistani nurse who received PR in Australia.
For the first time in my life, I felt secure. I wasn't just a worker anymore. My kids had free education, I could apply for a mortgage, and I knew no one could suddenly tell us to leave.
Now hear Omar, a Lebanese engineer in Qatar.
It was an honor. My company celebrated it, but honestly, nothing in my daily life changed drastically. I still know my future is tied to policies that could shift at any moment. Both individuals hold something called permanent residency. And yet, one feels like an anchor. The other, like a fragile metal pinned to your chest.
And here lies the true difference, not just in law, but in psychology. Australia, for all its faults, builds its national identity on immigration. Permanent residency is not simply tolerated, it is encouraged. It whispers to you, this is your home now. Qatar, by contrast, remains cautious. Permanent residency is a nod, a recognition of your service, but never a promise of belonging. It tells you you are welcome here, but always as a guest, albeit a very distinguished one. One Australian PR holder described it as putting down roots. A Qatari PR holder described it as holding a golden card you're afraid to lose. The contrast could not be sharper. So, why the difference? Context. Australia is vast, underpopulated, and historically reliant on immigration. Its politics are built on drawing people in. Qatar is small, wealthy, and demographically fragile. Nationals are a tiny minority in their own land. To hand out permanent residency broadly would be to invite demographic dilution. So instead, the state rewards a chosen few while keeping the gates firmly shut. It is not cruelty, it is strategy. But for the expatriates who carry that card, the message is clear. This land may be your workplace, even your lifestyle, but never fully your home. Of course, the great irony is in the word itself, permanent. In Australia, it often means exactly that. Stay as long as you wish, build a life, and pass it on to your children. In Qatar, permanent is more like the permanence of sand dunes. Solid today, but shifted tomorrow by a single gust of political wind. One could say Australia offers permanence, Qatar offers privilege. One is inclusive, the other exclusive. Both make sense in their own cultural and political worlds, but the lived experience for the individual migrant is worlds apart. Let us return briefly to our two voices. Aisha, in Australia.
When I got PR, I felt free for the first time. Free to dream, to plan, to believe my children would grow up without the shadow of uncertainty.
Omar, in Qatar.
I am grateful. It is a recognition of my years here. But I also know I will never be fully Qatari. And perhaps that is how it is meant to be.
Two voices, two truths, both sincere, both correct, and both a reminder that the phrase permanent residency is not universal. It is cultural, political, psychological. And so we must ask ourselves, what is the purpose of residency? Is it to build a new society together, as in Australia? Or is it to reward service while protecting the existing order, as in Qatar? There is no single answer, but we should at least be honest. Words like permanent and residency do not mean the same thing everywhere. They are tools of politics, instruments of identity, and they remind us that immigration policy is never just about paperwork. It is about who belongs and who never quite will.
So, the next time you hear someone say, "I have permanent residency," ask, "Permanent where?" For in one part of the world, it is the gateway to nationhood. In another, it is a gilded card that may be celebrated today and questioned tomorrow. And perhaps the real question for us is this: do we seek a home, or do we seek an opportunity? Do we want roots, or do we want wings? On Global Compass, we ask you not to simply accept the words on the document, but to think about the world behind them. What does permanent truly mean to you? Subscribe now if you like what I am doing now,